Welcome back to NBS TV as we continue the top 10 influential people in Central Illinois wrestling. Joining me once again, Justin Clark.
Hi gang, let's do this!
Speaking of, you know, from column A, putting a show together, I think I got your formula worked out, okay? I was thinking about the other day, I created an app on Facebook. You can look it up later if you want to, no big deal, okay? Where I put in all of your posts and everything you put in a database, okay, and it tells me a lot about you. I've done it for Crime Fighter 2. Mostly it's Democrats suck, Fox News rules, stuff like that, you know. I think I got your formula figured out for okay. Wrestling shows, okay? All right, mostly you're thinking about wrestling. All right, that was one of your top words. And then boobs are your other top words. So I'm thinking that you go to the booby bar to put your shows together.
No, I don't.
No,
I haven't. No, honestly,
dude, I thought that was your secret.
I'm mad at myself because I haven't honestly been to a gentleman's establishment in a long, long time.
Neither have
Years. So don't. Your wife doesn't even watch this.
Neither have I.
Your wife doesn't watch this. It's okay.
I
honestly haven't. I want to. I never make my way down there down to any. You know, but what was the question? Do I put shows together? I put the shows together by thinking about boobs. That's motivation. No, it's.
I think you look at Stephanie and go, "Those aren't pushed up enough. You need to."
No, okay. What was the show rated? Next question.
Have you ever had to do that? Go, honey, you need to tone it down.
Not for her. Amazingly enough,
right.
There's times where she says this or this, and I'd be like, not even.
Not even.
Don't
close.
even try it.
We'll get serious now for a second. You have always traveled to other shows. You and I have been to several shows together outside of Springfield, outside of New Midwest. Most promoters don't do that, you know, unless they're renting somebody a ring. They don't do that. Why do you do it?
I have the time. I make the time. A lot of guys. There's wrestlers. I won't show up unless I'm not booked. Well, how are you supposed to be visible to the promoter? You know, how's the promoter going to want to, you know, if you can't show up to this? If you show up to a show, like I'm pretty sure that's why I'm on Dreamwave events now. It's because I was there already.
Right.
Plus, I'm a great talker and I can sell tickets. You know, that's the thing is that, you know, I took time to go see. I take an active part in seeing other guys. I like to watch, like, a lot of times when I go out, it's because other guys are on shows. I like to go to Dreamwave shows because there's tons of guys that I use or have used and that I wanted to see succeed. And I like going to wrestling shows. I like being a fan. I like taking myself away from it. I like supporting the cause. There's nothing wrong with supporting the cause. Nothing wrong for paying to get in.
We talked several months ago on the NBS podcast about regulating professional wrestling in Central Illinois.
Yeah.
Kind of came to the conclusion that the reason it was regulated to begin with was because it was portrayed as a real sport.
Yeah.
Once that wall got taken out, it pretty much went away.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there should be promoters license, wrestlers should be licensed? How do you feel about that? Are you in a situation where you could be able to buy a promoter's license, or if something like that happened, would that affect New Midwest?
Well, I think I could, because we're in a good spot right now, and I've treated it like a business. If it came down to it, you know, I had to buy the name. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't think regulation is going to change anything. It's either going to be too strict or not enough. Plus, if regulation happened, guess who would be the first in line to be a commissioner would be? And Well, it's a lot of promoters are scared of it. I'm not scared of it because that's just going to challenge me to want to do it, you know, to have to jump over that hurdle.
Do you think they're scared of it because they put crappy stuff and to get that out there, because you know they're basically fulfilling?
I don't want to damn any promoters at all, but you know it's definitely going to cut a lot of people off at the head. It really is, because a lot of people just jump right into it. Whereas there's some places that that take up a while before they get started. Other places, they get their ring, they book their first show.
Speaking of setting up stuff, you know, you've always been a pretty positive person overall, okay? You haven't lived with me or anything like that, so I don't know how you are. But as far as the wrestling business goes, you've always been a pretty positive person. You don't want to hear anything about negativity. Not too long ago, you let it really get the best of you. You're really out there, you know, slinging mud, throwing stuff. Not typical Justin Clark behavior. What finally got under your skin for you to step out of your shell like that?
I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to damn anybody here, but I was getting emails about what these other places were doing to make sure I wasn't aligned with these places, that I didn't have any of their same wrestlers. And that right there shows me that these guys aren't doing good business and they could hurt it. When I was getting emails and phone calls to make sure that I wasn't this other company, that hit me hard. Like I got a call from a lady. She's like, are you the one that was at so and so? And I was like, no, why? Well, we went there and we left early because it wasn't very good, and we wanted to make sure before we did it again. Because if they had done it again and got crossed, bye-bye wrestling for them. They wouldn't ever do another show again. And it got to the point where I was easily egged on at that point. It wasn't the fact that they were talking. It was at the point where it would come where I would see something and I'm like, wait a minute. This is what's going to set me off. At that point, I was a hair trigger because I really was upset about all that. Now, I'm letting everybody, if you're going to sink, you're going to sink.
You know, a lot of these companies that are doing horrible business, booking horrible people, you know, they're grassroots companies. Somebody somewhere is throwing a bunch of money away. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
They're throwing a bunch of money away to start a promotion because their buddies want to wrestle. Okay? That's no different from how New Midwest got started, NGW got started, New Breed got started, you know, NWA, Supreme started the same way. What's the difference between what these guys are doing and you guys that are established?
When these other places were established, when New Midwest was established, you didn't have anybody else. And all the garbage started falling off after, you know, it took you know so many years for it to fall off of each company. New Breed is a totally different place now than it was back then. It's using guys that are in it to win it. You know what I mean? These other places, you have some place established, but you're still not going to go to it. We didn't have anything established back when I started, unless it was up in Chicago, and even then they had very few places that were really in it to win it. Same thing with St. Louis.
Why don't you think these guys want to come help New Midwest?
No.
Because I get phone calls too from people that want to come to the wrestling school, and I can see it in their voice because they were somewhere 5 years ago, or you know, or starting out. They want special privilege.
Yeah.
And it's a deal breaker always when I say, well, you go, but you're going to listen to Guy Smith when you get there, and you're going to go through his. He's in charge. You're not coming in because you want to work on a drop kick that night.
Well, you got Tom Arson, who pretty much trained Guy Smith. He's in here listening to Guy Smith now, because it's still his school. He's still the boss. He's still the boss when he's in here. When I'm in here, I listen to Guy Smith, and whatever Guy Smith asks me to do, if he tells me to give people critiques, I'll do it then, not tell them.
And he says you give a heck of a foot massage, by the way.
No, I don't give them because I don't get them. That's a rule.
That's the rule.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is that you know these guys don't want to. It's too hard. It really is. It's too hard. If you're working for anybody other than the established companies, it's just too hard for you. Give it up. Go watch it. Buy a ticket, please. I need your money.
Let's kind of go back to the original question. What is the goal for Justin MacIntyre? What's your short-term and your long-term goals for the character Justin MacIntyre?
For Justin MacIntyre, I wanted him. I said it millions of times. Justin MacIntyre's dead. I'm fine. I got to take on this face. And then I did the new breed thing, and Justin MacIntyre was there, and that made sense at that time. We have, at Dreamwave, you have Justin MacIntyre III, which I didn't like that name at first. I hated it. They came up to me like, we want you to be Justin MacIntyre III, and I'm like, well, I know it didn't make a difference as far as being established in LaSalle, because I wasn't established in LaSalle. I could have been called anything up there. But Justin MacIntyre III just didn't sit with me. I was like, why don't we try Justin MacIntyre the first, and then we'll do like Esquire the next month, and just change it up every month. That'd be funny. I thought Justin MacIntyre the first was funny. But now that Justin MacIntyre III, I think of it is this perfect, because it's the third act. It's this third section of MacIntyre. Well, you had MacIntyre who came up, through NGW, and when he started at New Midwest was one guy. Then you had the guy who had to take on responsibility, that Justin MacIntyre, and the guy that was a little bit higher level. Now you have this Justin MacIntyre who's in a totally different stage of his career. It's that third act. I mean, if this is it, this is it. This is a great way to end it. I mean, I'm having a blast at Dreamwave. When I finally close it down, that'll be it. Okay. I don't want to say that'll be it, but you know what I mean. Right. I guess it almost fits now. That the third thing really fits.
Yeah. Well, I like it. I think it gives a good ring, and it gives you a different kind of aspect of your character. I know you usually don't care what I think.
They've been really receptive as to what I can do with it. I came out in the suit and tie the first time. The second time I was like, you mind if I go out there and I wear my chucks, rock and roll it up a little bit, give it a feel that I can really get a hold of. And they're like, yeah, go ahead. I mean, there was a fan out there that was giving me garbage, just so much garbage. Like, you're a lawyer, what are you doing wearing shoes? I'm like, we're wearing chucks. It's casual day. It's Saturday. You think all lawyers wear dress shoes every day? No, they don't. Right. I'm sorry they don't have casual day at your MIG job. I love that line. And it was able for me to work off it. And Dreamwave's been so open, and the guys, I'm not used to having to go to everybody. I'm used to everybody coming to me. You know what I mean? And it makes me feel good that I have to work to meet all these guys, to shake their hand. I don't know. It's honestly it's truly the happiest I've been in shows in a long time.
That's good. Glad to hear that. So now, what's the goal for Justin Clark now? What overall?
Justin Clark is still growth. I don't see it ended. I really don't. I see New Midwest as the place. We set the goal every once in a while. We need to make New Midwest the place to be for guys, for fans, and we do that. We succeed in that. We really do. Every once in a while, I'll get a call from somebody I haven't heard in a long time. Every once in a while I'll get a Madman sighting. You know what I mean? And I think it's just continued growth. Don't be afraid to challenge myself. Don't be afraid to learn. I'm teaching myself the whole, the video wall. I'm teaching myself certain kinds of editing. I'm teaching myself, run sheets, that kind of thing. I'm not afraid to learn, to challenge myself.
I mean, it's just, I know my son's 6 now. My daughter's 9 months old as of this taping. As a person, mature growth as a child. What's your child? I know you kind of took on New Midwest, and the baby came shortly after after that happened. How has that changed you as a person?
Patience. I've learned patience and tolerance. I think.
Have you ever cut a wrestling promo on your daughter?
No,
I know she's a pretty quick guy.
No, I don't want to, I don't want to say I hate the business. I don't want to keep her around it. I don't want her in it. And I've said that before. I don't want her anywhere near the wrestling business. But being a father has taught me that you can't put up walls. You just have to show the roads. You can't say keep off the grass. You got to show them why the grass isn't good. You know what I mean? All she has to do is be a better person than I. And all I have to do is show her from right from wrong, not make the decisions for her. And that's taught me with guys, is especially the new guys, the guys that are easily malleable, to show them where these right and wrong decisions are, instead of giving them that decision.
Do you think how old are you now?
I'm 29. I'll be 30 in September.
You're 29 now. Do you see yourself 30 years? You'll be 60. You know, you and your daughter be backstage, you're trying to go over something with her, trying to explain to her the video wall or something, debating on whether to put the title back on Guy Smith or
Guy Smith Jr. Let's hope not, right?
No, he'll still be the same guy. He's the forever man. Yeah. He's not going anywhere. What else has he got to do? You know?
Oh, but, God, I hate
you see that conversation happening sometime?
No, I don't know. I've never really thought of it. I didn't see myself making it 25. I really didn't. Here we are. I'm coming up on 30, and I don't know what's going on.
I'm 31 now. Your body's bad now. It completely starts to fall apart at 30.
I don't know where I'm going to be at 30 then. I don't know. You know, right down the run sheet with a Twinkie.
Have I told you? I know most of this interview is about you. Have I told you the story about my son yet in WrestleMania? Have we talked about this yet? I was watching WrestleMania, watching on the big TV in the living room, where usually I don't watch my stuff at. But I told him it was WrestleMania. I'm watching it. So he's sitting there watching it with me, okay? And he loves The Rock, loves Dwayne Johnson. So he's sitting there watching Dwayne Johnson. I lean over to the wife and I say, that's him getting hooked. Because you know when you get hooked.
Yeah.
You know, Hogan, Andre, whatever your hook was. You know when you got
Do you want me to tell you my hook?
No, I won't. Yeah, you can tell it to me in a minute. Let me. So I lean over to the wife and I say, that's him getting hooked. He's getting hooked. This is it. He's going to start going to shows with me. I'm super excited. Dude, he's glued on the TV. 15 seconds after I make that comment to the wife, he turns around to me and goes, I hate wrestling. I wish it never existed. I'm like, wow, unbelievable. Go ahead. What was your hook?
My hook was actually Chris Candido. Like somebody. No,
as Skip or
no, as Chris Candido, as no gimmicks needed. That was the. Okay. I was like, wait a minute, what does that mean? That means you don't have to be a pirate. Like, and that really
you
hooked.
Don't have to be a dead
like
guy
that whole it was him. Like it was older tape at the time I had seen it. And again, my best friend was totally into wrestling. I was kind of like him, yeah, that's fine. My stepdad watched it a lot when I was younger, but I wasn't a fan,
right,
like I am now. But like they showed like no gimmicks needed Chris Candido, and he went on this rant about how he didn't want to be a bodybuilder anymore. He didn't want to do whatever, and I was just like, well, that's really neat that you it kind of, I wouldn't say exposed it, but put it out there that it was kind of a take charge guy, and he was the blonde bombshell and all that, and I loved that. And he had Tammy with him. That couldn't have hurt. And then like guys like Kevin Nash. It
always goes back to boobs with you, man.
Yeah.
I just don't.
No, Tammy. I'll tell you what. Tammy is hands down like the reason we have divas.
Right.
And she's one of the best managers of all time. I tell Steph to watch tape of that.
Right.
Hands down, and she was quintessential back then. And guys like Kevin Nash, who did break down the fourth wall, which I don't like. But for now, I mean, as a producer myself,
that's really a dead argument, to be honest with you. I mean, it's going to go away sooner or later.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a planned sport.
But the guy that was out there having fun and not just being the I'm gonna get you, dude. Those guys were the guys that really hooked me.
Right. Speaking of that, obviously we talk a lot about Mauve. Guy watches a video like crazy.
Yeah.
What do you watch when you go old school? Because I know you don't have a whole lot of time to do it, but I try to watch the best of stuff as much as I can. Who do you watch?
Now I have a lot of. I've been watching a lot of NGW tape. I watch a lot of our own homegrown stuff a lot lately to see where everything was at a certain point, and then where we've grown since then. And I have to see what has grown and why it has grown to help learn what can help it make it grow from this point further, and then on. As far as the actual like really old school tape, I have a lot of AWA tape. I have a lot of NWA tape, like the weekly TVs, I have tons of those. All the showboat stuff from AWA. I have a lot of ECW. Back when they had when they really getting their bearings, and they had like the best ring I've ever seen in my life, and I really want it. Like the ring they had when they closed was perfect. I wanted it, and I can't find that ring anywhere. I don't know where to get it, where to look for it. And then you have I watched a lot of Ring of Honor lately. I got the first year on disc now, so. And that whole first year is just phenomenal, because that was them when they didn't know where everything was, when they were still grabbing at what they really truly wanted. I mean, they could have said, "Hey, this is pure wrestling, screw sports entertainment." When they had that gimmick, they didn't really know who they were.
Right.
And that was when they were learning that, and I really love watching those discs.
Kind of switching gears now, going back to Central Illinois. Who's out there on the Central Illinois market now, not currently on the New Midwest roster, never wrestled at New Midwest, that you would like to have on the New Midwest roster?
I told him this a couple months ago. Marche Rocket is is number one on my short list. I mean, if I ever have to go out there and grab guys, Marche is the first person I'm going to. You know, the guys that go out there and there's something different. They show something different when they're in the ring. There's tons of guys who I don't know how to get on New Midwest. I watch the shows. I watch all.
Facebook, you right?
Well, no, don't Facebook. Do not contact me on Facebook. My phone number is everywhere. My email address is everywhere.
When it works.
And 10 times, you know, 10 times out of 11, most guys get booked because of word of mouth. Somebody that's willing to speak up for them. You know, 2008, if anybody was new in 2008, it was because Ryan Phoenix had suggested him. So this is a guy that really wants to learn, or a guy that could really.
Speaking of Ryan Phoenix, oh my God, what a character! What growth over the past few years. You remember that kid that wouldn't leave Peoria? Yeah. Oh my God!
He didn't know he could. Amazing? He didn't know he could. And then he did. Then he did. Now I want to chop his head off. I don't know one guy that gives me heartburn.
What do you mean you're going?
No, I don't know one guy that gives me more heartburn on my roster than Ryan Phoenix. For a guy, like I grew up in the same area as he did in Peoria. We're two different guys, though. That's the funny part. We're two different kinds of people. But like he's a guy that's not leaving that area of Peoria ever. You know what I mean? He's definitely quite the character. But it's so funny to see him grow and become like. And I always say that Illinois is the meter of how hard he has to work.
Right.
Like up in LaSalle, Waylon Beck, he has to get beat up. He doesn't have to do anything. Down in Peoria, he has to kill somebody to get a reaction. Down in Springfield, he has to kill himself. It's just.
Well, I think in Springfield he's more of an entertainment, really. I think right now he is, I don't want to say you're John Cena, but he has to bring that crowd. He has to be the number one guy. You know, in Peoria, he has to destroy people, and in like you said, Dreamwave, he gets beat up. He's that mid-level guy, whatever you want to call him.
Well, he doesn't have to work very hard. He comes in, slobbers on the bottom rope, and that's.
All right, so now I'm going to put you on the spot, okay? I got one more that's going to put you on the spot. Well, let me start with this.
Okay.
Okay. Are we ever going to see Rip Mystic back in New Midwest Wrestling?
It's definitely on him. I'll be honest with you. It was his decision to leave. It was something I didn't want to have to deal with. It came to a point where it just came to a crossroad, and it was easier for us just to part ways.
Right.
I have nothing against Rip Mystic. Rip Mystic is a hell of a guy. He's definitely a hell of a guy to have backstage. Any locker room is privileged to have him. And I have no problems with Rip Mystic. It just came to an executive decision on my part that led to us to bump heads and split ways.
Right.
But I'd love to have him back. I would have him back in a heartbeat. Like I said, it's on him.
Okay, so we'll end this. Obviously, like I said, I think you're one of the most influential people in Central Illinois wrestling. I want your top 3 wrestlers in the area right now, not counting Ryan Phoenix, because we already talked about Ryan Phoenix. Start with number 3. Your number 3 wrestler in Central Illinois right now.
Oh, wow. Should have warned me about these. I got to line them up. Number 3 would definitely have to be Bobby Houston. Bobby Houston is a guy that I could, like this whole top 3 are going to be the guys that you don't, not for the reason like, oh, he's that good.
No, I'm not going to argue with you. I just want your opinion.
But from a booker's point of view, I could send somebody out there with Bobby Houston, and he could tell me afterwards whether or not what I need to do with them, how they're doing. That I'll put Bobby Houston out there. What can I do? Bobby Houston fought. Christian Rose when he first broke off, he did a singles thing in the Midwest. Bobby Houston fought Derek Moss and the other rookies, and that wasn't like unplanned. That was something that I was putting out there. Guy Smith for the same reasons. Guy Smith is working with these guys.
Is Guy Smith your number 2 or is he number 3?
Yeah, we'll put him at number 2.
Put him at number 2. Okay.
And then he's definitely one of those guys. He's quintessential to Central Illinois. Everything comes down to him now because he's the guy that trains here. He's the HWC champion. He's Mr. New Midwest. You know what I mean? He's very quintessential to the scene. Number one. Let me see. I had it and I just lost it when you said it. Asked if it was number 2 because it's on the tip of my tongue.
It's all right.
That's how good he is. That's how good he is as a number 1. Is that I can't remember his name.
Oh, gotcha. We'll cut all that. He'll get that.
Number 1 right now is I would put Matt Cage there for almost the same reasons as I can put Matt Cage in with anybody.
All right.
Matt Cage is definitely that guy who he's kind of got this idea, like as much as he wants to make it about him and his career, because he's working on himself. It's looking out for number 1. Is Matt Cage? I can put him in there with somebody and.
Ain't it amazing how, you know, he can put himself out there as, you know, it's all about Matt Cage, but the kid gets it. He understands that it's more, not really a team sport, but in order for him to be successful, he's got to make somebody else.
Definitely. And he definitely does that because he's one of the guys that's taking the new kids under his wing. And you'll see them work in other places, and he'll work with them in other places. That's the thing is it's my top, you know, my top guys aren't going to be the same as somebody else's. As who's the better wrestler? Because the better wrestler to me is the guy I can put out there with anybody else that can work. Like that's the thing about New Midwest. If I can't put you in there with anybody, I'm not saying I don't want you, but that's what you got to work for.
Yeah. Well, man, again, thanks for taking the time to sit down with me. Like I said, how's it feel to be one of the most influential people in Central Illinois?
I don't mean to. I'm sorry.
Well, it's not anything.
No, it's you know, it feels good. It's not what I work for. I work for the guys as a whole. So I guess that does kind of count, but. You know, I realize that I'm just a part. I'm just a cog. You know what I mean? I'm just a gear in the machine, whether it be at New Midwest specifically or in the scene period, wherever I'm at. You know, if it's just Justin MacIntyre doing the the speaking role at Dreamwave Wrestling, or it's Justin Clark down at New Midwest who's doing everything behind the sound booth and then having to go out and bark orders.
Right.
That guy. I realize that it's one cog in a machine full of them.
All right, man. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate it. Justin Clark, one of the most influential people in Central Illinois wrestling. I'm Chris Lee. He's Justin Clark, and for the Mad Conservative Crime Fighter, Mauve, who's not here right now. Thanks for watching, guys. Take care.
Thanksgiving weekend. New Midwest Wrestling's 12th anniversary. November Rain returns to Lanphier High School on Saturday, November 26th in Springfield, where John Magnus returns to defend his 9-0 streak. Tony G challenges dodgeball superstar Tyler Pregel for the Central Illinois Championship. The November Rain rematch from 2008 between the Mississippi Madman versus Benz. Attitude Incorporated defend the Tag Team Championships against The Crew, Eric Logan and Derek Moss. And Ryan Phoenix defends the Heavyweight Championship against his former tag team partner, Tom Arson. It's the 12th anniversary event, November Rain, Saturday, November 26th at Lanphier High School in Springfield.